There are so many people that have trauma going back to the womb and childbirth. It- They don't even think about that could be then causing the ripple effect.
I don't know. Because I had both lungs collapse when I was born, and so I have like a physical scar here and here from where they put.
You've got the emotional and physical scars too from that
Yeah.
experience. Welcome, everyone. This is Ruthie Renee with Quantum Field Trips, and I am here today with an actual client. This is one of my very favorite clients. Annee Childs was the first recipient of a scholarship that I gave for my Create Your Reality, learning how to self management and self hypnosis is what we taught in that course. And I'm so excited you're here with me today, Annee. I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, but because I know you're very modest, I'm going to point out before I forget these gorgeous earrings that I'm wearing. They are hand knitted by Annee. You're a fibers specialist. What is that called?
Yeah, fiber specialist. It's anything to deal with like knitting, tatting, crocheting, intricate handmade lace works, and things like that.
And I have another pair too that my sister gave me, and they are so intricate and beautiful. And I'm going to post in the show notes. I'm going to post a link to you. You have a Facebook group where you show your art and you do sell the earrings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I do the little work and I get a little tick at the back of my belly button and I just have to throw it across the room. So I just am amazed by people that have the ability to quiet your mind and your body to focus on such a small area. But for you, it's meditative.
Yeah, it's very meditative for me. It allows me to separate myself from the stress of my day, and I can just focus on that.
And when did that start?
That started when I was really young. My mom taught me to crochet at a really young age, and it led me into the knitting and the tatting. And recently, I've decided to teach myself how to do bobbin lace.
What did it help you with when you were so young?
It helped me just remove myself from the stress in my house. Um, I've had lots of siblings and lots of drama that comes with them. And
Full house often brings drama.
it gave me an outlet to just be myself and not have to worry about what anybody else was saying and or doing in the house, or just allowed me to calm myself and my mind.
So, so really knitting, crochet, needlework is your first experience with getting inside the quantum field, even though you didn't probably understand or know about meditation or
Yeah.
any of that. So maybe that's why you had such a good experience with self hypnosis and you were a natural. So for everybody watching, when I start a course, I give homework. I have the modules and then I ask questions and I ask you to do certain activities. And out of all of my clients that went through that program, you were absolutely the very first one to dig in and do the work. You had quite a bit of work that you didn't even know you had going into it. And we'll talk about that in a minute too. So tell us, when you found the course and you decided you wanted to apply for the scholarship, what was the reason? Without, you don't have to give specifics, but the overall reason.
I knew my individual family, just me, my spouse, and my child. We had a lot of problems going on in our home that were all through anxiety and depression and a lot of things like that. And I really wanted to find a way to help those around me. My my parents also dealt with a lot of anxiety and depression, and so does my husband's family. And so I wanted to have tools so that I could be a better pillar for my immediate family to help them progress better than perhaps I was taught or my husband was taught.
Yeah. So it sounds like through no fault of your parents, because it's what they knew and understood, they passed down this line of how viewing life, and you're kind of set up for failure. You wanted to shift that and set your family and your child up for success instead. That fair to say?
Yes.
And my response, and after looking through everybody, I really, yeah, I go a lot on feelings, and I was very connected to you. I had the worry that when you go into something wanting to fix somebody else, or even with the admirable feelings of wanting to help somebody else, you never quite get the full benefit. So what I asked you was to be all in for Annee and focus on Annee. And you really did. You did a great job with that. Do you find that even though your focus was on healing your own thoughts and patterns and subconscious beliefs and lies, finding the lies and correcting them, do you find that it was just helpful for you, or did you find that it snowballed anyway?
It was hugely helpful for me because I view things differently. But now I'm able to help my 6-year-old calm down more easily, and I can understand a little more when my husband's about ready to go into a spiral, or I'm able to just kind of direct a little bit better throughout my family because I'm a little more centered.
Yeah, absolutely. When you change how you view the world changes, even if it doesn't change. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
it does.
So, yeah, and I found that myself because I was very much the same way going into the healing work and all the different modalities that I've learned. It was to mostly help my child who had some extreme anxiety and reasons that caused that, and I definitely had to shift and work on me first. It's like the airplane. The oxygen drops down, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself, and then you're clear minded to help those around you. So I'm so excited to talk to you because it's been a while since the end of the last that group that you were in, and we've touched base in our Facebook group a little bit, and I've heard some stories along the way. But this is the first time that I've really gotten to really dig in and chat with you. So I'm excited to be here today. Um, so many things I want to know and I'm curious about. But first, for anybody that has seen the manifestation model, the mini course that I offer, in that mini course, I gave a sneak peek into our larger the self hypnosis course, and you were the, I don't want to say target. You were the lucky client that got to volunteer when I was teaching that portion of it. And you were so open and willing to let us, let everybody see how the shifting the model works. And to do that, in the beginning of the course, I always, I have everybody pick a goal. So would you like to share what your goal was?
Yeah, my goal was to clean a room in my house where we had just shoved junk from from when we moved, from when we had to clear the house out for one reason or another. It all just piled into this room, and the room always drove me insane because I could never seem to get it settled before I had to shove more junk in there.
Right. So it's this never ending cycle task of, I can't ever finally get done. And I think it's interesting because this is your past self and the feeling of it's driving me insane. And so then that's the thought and what you say. And so then you feel insane when you look in that room. So going into it, and I plug in a snippet of that because it was just so good. Going into it, you felt like or thought it was an organizational problem, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm so unorganized, I think was your thought.
Yeah,
And
I couldn't. figure out how to organize it appropriately to where I didn't feel like it was cluttered.
Right. And the really fun part, and this is something I say all the time to my clients and online and everything else, is your problem is never your problem. So the problem, you felt like, I'm not organized. And that wasn't it at all, was it?
No, not
No.
at all.
In fact, we uncovered that you are an extremely organized person. Like, these alone, you have to have organizational skills to do such intricate work. But uh, in case I don't share it in the thing, this fine woman who thought she was not organized, all your, is it your music or your DVDs? What's alphabetized?
Uh, my movies are alphabetized.
Yeah. And that's just one of the many things that we found that pointed out that you absolutely are organized. And there were some deeper reasons that were holding the the clutter, the space in the state that it was in, that really had nothing to do with what you thought it was. And that's kind of how it is with hypnosis, self hypnosis, guided hypnosis. You want to uncover the what is the subconscious reason for keeping me in this state that I consciously don't want to be in. And it's always a surprise. Now, after, because I might just play the snippet here, but so after you had that initial awareness of, okay, this is a deeper thing that came up. What came up was,
It was when I was a teen. I was always the kid with the messy room. And it was my mother telling me that my room was always messy. And because it was more cluttered, you would say, than any of the other kids' rooms. And it always drove her nuts, and she always got on me after it. And my room was organized my way, and it wasn't organized my mother's way. And that's what bothered her. And
right,
that's why she kept harping on me for it. But I realized that my thought of my room being unorganized was because that's what my mother told me I was.
right. And then you flipped it, you healed that, and um and then later on, a few weeks later, you continue to do some work and pull back more layers. Would you feel comfortable sharing what you
Um,
uncovered?
I pulled back, realizing that most of my life I felt disconnected with my mother
Hmm.
because of the way she thought I should organize and the way I thought I should organize. And I ended up going all the way back to the day I was born. And I was born premature, and I went straight from birth to an incubator and stayed there for over a week.
And when you say premature, how many weeks?
2 months.
So you were extremely
It
premature.
4 pounds, 10 ounces. My lungs collapsed. I had tubes in me, and I couldn't breathe on my own. And actually, I just processed something about that same incident again, literally 3 days ago. And I keep finding I'm going back to that one specific thing for other things in my life.
Yeah.
And so I'm finding, like, I found, like, all my doctor phobias started there.
Hmm.
All of my problems with between me and my mom have started there. And now I'm finding that I've had to, it's still a little fresh because it's just 3 days ago, but I had to deal with the abandonment I felt.
Yeah.
My mom didn't talk to me while I was in the incubator because she was so terrified I was going to die
Right.
that
You didn't want to make that connection.
she wasn't there. My dad was there off and on, but they were covered in gowns and gloves and hairnet things. And
Yeah. We
so there
just
was,
didn't know scientifically, we didn't know what we know now, and how important that touch and talk and soothing and
yeah,
whatever. And how long were you in the incubator separated from your mother?
I think it's about 10 days,
Okay.
separated for 10 days straight from birth.
And you found that this disconnect that you had with your mom all these years, and you kept on pointing the finger to all of these things that cognitively we can see. Oh, I'm not good enough because my room's messy. I'm not good enough for
Yeah,
all of
because
these reasons that had nothing to do with feeling disconnected, because you literally were disconnected.
yeah.
And how were you able to get some healing from that? And what is the relationship like with your mom now? Have you been able to find healing with that?
The relationship with my mom has gotten better. We don't argue as much as we used to. Um, I've realized it's okay to do it my way,
Hmm.
and I pick up when I feel like my mom's running me over to trying to do it her way. Um, but I went when I went back, I realized that my mom was there. She just couldn't touch me or talk to me because she had her own issues at the time that she didn't know about either. And so we had to, both of us had to kind of feel it out for a while
Yeah.
after everything got processed from both our sides. And
Yeah.
and right now we're in a pretty good place, but we've still got room to go.
Course, for sure. And because there are so many layers, but you've opened the door to understanding. And what I think is beautiful, when we are willing to do the work, and for anybody that's like lost when I say the work, I'm talking about the thought work, going inside and figuring out, okay, this, it doesn't feel good, it's not useful or helpful for me to think this way or act this way or show up this way. I don't want to feel this way towards my mother. How can it be better? How can you shift? And when that work happens, a large part that's always in every hypnosis session, whether it's self hypnosis or guided, is that forgiveness, understanding and seeing. And even if you don't agree with the other side, the perpetrator, or whatever's going on, having the forgiveness and the understanding that, oh, that this isn't about me, that part is yours, and I'm going to let you have it and you do what you want with it. But there's that element of, oh, I don't even have to hold your stuff. And then you can see things differently and accept and be more patient. All of those, do you find that has happened with the relationship with your mom?
Yeah, I always felt like my mom singled me out and picked on me, and um some of the issues we had, I always just thought that my body wasn't working properly or things like this weren't happening, and I just didn't understand why. And when I went back and figured it out, I realized that my body is doing what it can for me. And my mom is just not understanding that my body was different.
Yeah.
And being able to separate that my body does what I need it to do and not what she needs it to do is okay.
Yes.
She's got to figure it out on her own, and I can't take the weight of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, one of our classes, I'm not sure which one of the things that came up was, um, in forgiveness, is understanding boundaries, and where forgiveness doesn't mean I allow you to walk all over me. That's a boundary thing, not a forgiveness thing. Forgiveness we give simply so that we can let go of the things that we don't need to carry. And it doesn't mean judgment or anything else, except for, I release it, I release the feelings, and that, let you do, you be you, I'll be me, your stuff is your stuff, my stuff is my stuff, and I'll clean up my stuff. And you've done a great job at cleaning your stuff up, going through, going back in time before you started this course, and what you thought about. Well, first, let me ask that. What did you think about hypnosis going into the course?
Um, I wasn't opposed to any of it. I've heard my mom had taken courses on where your body gives you responses for things to help you work through things. And I've tried some of that prior, but my body wouldn't respond to my mom. And now I realize that 90% of my problem was that disconnect with my mom, which is
Yeah.
why it really worked. And so I was a lot more comfortable going into it where it was me working on myself and not somebody else coming in and saying, okay, here's what you should be doing.
Right.
And it's a lot more comfortable for me to just fall right into it.
So you had a positive outlook from the start, like, yes,
Yeah.
I can do this, which is probably why you did such a great job, because you believed you could do it, and so you did it. And now
Yeah.
on the other side, after going through the course and using the tools, um, what what are a couple of things that are the biggest game changers for you? How do you see your life and live your life differently?
I can go to a doctor without a panic attack. That is a
Yay!
huge,
That's helpful.
uh, yeah, because prior to the thing, I had surgery and it took four four people with like 7 needles just to get 2 vials of blood. And then when the next day when I had to get the IV, it took another 4 people, an ultrasound machine, and an anesthetist with
Wow.
another needles to get an IV in me. And
You
by
sound
the
like
time
my
that
husband right
happened, I was a mess. But just this last January, I had to go into the doctor for some of the same symptoms I was having prior to my surgery. And it was like, okay, I can totally do this. I went in, I talked to the doctor, I figured out what I needed. I even had blood drawn one time. One person, one needle, one time.
Wow.
And I was done and out. My husband had surgery within the last 2 months too. And I was able to just, okay, here we go. It wasn't this huge drawn out ordeal of, oh my gosh, I have to make the appointment.
And doesn't it, I know I relate to you, because when I found hypnosis, it was because I had such extreme, ridiculous, debilitating dental trauma. Like, just saying the word dentist, I would cry. Calling the office for my kid's appointment, not even me, I would cry. So, and moving to a place where I can go and not even have laughing gas, it's empowering and liberating. What are the feelings for you going into the doctor's office and giving that blood with one person and seeing, like, outside of yourself, seeing the Annee that it took 7 people to get a vial of blood, and now just going in like a regular person? What do you feel?
Most kids, I wish I could have done it sooner.
Yeah.
I wish I could have figured it out sooner. And I don't know, my husband, like, he'll have to take off of work to come and take me to the doctor because I can't go by myself or whatever. But just knowing that I've gotten so much stronger to be able to deal with it. I still get anxiety from it, but it's at a manageable level.
Yeah. Yeah. Who likes to go to the doctor and do that? I think it's a normal physical response that we're like, hey, there's a sharp object coming at me. So, but from where you were to where you are now, that is so amazing. And I want to be clear with everybody that there are a lot of people that will do my courses, and they'll still, when they're really stuck on something, they'll reach out and we'll do a one-on-one appointment. Annee hasn't ever done a one-on-one session. This is all you. You did all of the work. I gave you the tools and you said, thank you. I can do this now. And I I do believe most, I even the ones that don't say it out loud, I'm sure most everybody that goes through this process has the same thought of you, like, oh, why didn't they teach this in high school? Why didn't I learn this as a why didn't anybody teach my mom before she had the children? And then all of the things. However, we learn at the exact right time for us. You may not have been receptive in high school. You got the healing, the understanding, the knowledge right when you needed it to be there. And now your sweet little girl's set up for success because you teach her as she goes.
Yeah.
That That is pretty amazing. Um, I before I let you go on about your day, I want to know, for anybody watching and just curious and thinking maybe they relate to the panic attacks or the debilitating stress and depression, or maybe they were a preemie and they haven't even thought about what in their life now is caused from trauma as a baby or in utero even. What advice would you give to anybody for changing your life? What's the best thing? What would you say to do?
I would say just try it, because the more you try it, the easier it becomes. It's like learning something new. You just got to jump in and start doing it.
Yeah,
And the more you do it, the more easily it comes and the more effective it gets.
absolutely. That was actually one of the rules of the mind. I don't remember which one, but the repetition, the more you do something, riding a bike, driving a car, of course it's different and weird the first time. And a lot of times I do have clients, you were great because you were already set up for success in your mind. You knew you could do it and it wasn't weird to you. I have had a number of clients going into it thinking, this is a weird, and I just say, just pretend. What if it isn't? What if maybe it won't work and you're not going to be any worse off? But what if it does work? What if you actually are able to change your life and all you had to do was practice for a few weeks, and
Mhm.
and then you get to change your life. I'm so excited for you and the work that you've done and the woman you are now. And it just keeps going. As, like you said, as you keep working, you get stronger, wiser, better. And then all of a sudden, people start coming to, I bet people have already asked you about changes. Am I right?
They have. I've referred a few people your way. I don't know if they've actually gone there though.
Oh, I thank you. Thank you very much. That it's true. People start recognizing, and in so many different ways. I've had people say that people think they've gotten a facelift because when you don't have the anger or the depression or the whatever literally pulling on you, all of a sudden there's a lightness. And maybe that's why you look so dang cute today. Because
Actually, funny story here.
yeah.
I had my husband compliment me the other day on my makeup. I have not worn makeup or purchased makeup in years.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that is such a great testimonial in and of itself. Do the self hypnosis. Your husband will think your makeup is great even when you're not wearing it. That's, but well, good for him for giving you the compliment, and it, you do absolutely look brighter, younger, happier, more bright, and your hair is on point. I told you that before we started recording. And that's natural, everybody. So
Yes.
um, well, thanks again for sharing your story with everybody and giving hope, giving the hope of all you have to do is take responsibility and do a little bit of work, and it gets easier, doesn't it? Did
It does.
you?
It's easier as you go along.
Yeah, that first time you went back and found, oh, this is what it is. All the pain comes up and the tears and it takes some time. Sometimes those self hypnosis sessions can be 20 minutes, 2 hours, a couple of days. You have to come back and revisit it. And now, what have you gotten to the point where you can see it, breathe, flip it, find the the cause, and change it pretty quickly?
I can. I've been able, sometimes it takes a day or two, but sometimes it just depends on what I find. If it's just something little, it's just like, okay, my husband's freaking out. Okay, I can turn that around because he's probably had this happen, or.
Uh,
And it doesn't have to affect me as much as it used to in the past.
and that's key too. the world outside of you, the circumstances can still be the same or do what they want. But when you change your internal world, all of a sudden, which actually brings me to where we started with your room, is not always completely 100% organized, is it?
No,
But it doesn't drive you crazy anymore.
it's not bothering me anymore. A lot of the garbage is gotten out, but the room still looks a little cluttered from what my mother would say. But it doesn't bother me because I know where things are and I can find them.
Yes. And you know that that little bit of clutter that comes and goes when we live life has nothing to do with your value.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a good place to be. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with everybody, Annee, and sharing your story. And I know it's just going to impact so many people. So if you relate to Annee and you want to do the changes and take responsibility, then reach out to me, ruthierenee at gmail is my email, or you can post a comment here and I will reach out to you. Get into the self hypnosis course, or I'm actually just today while talking to Annee, I may have decided I'm gonna do another round of guided self hypnosis courses, just because they're so fun to interact with people. So get on the list of that. Reach out, and I'll give you some more information when I have it. And that's all I've got for you today. Have a blessed day and enjoy. Take your power back. Live the best reality you can. You have the power to do it. Thanks, Annee.
Thank you.